It's awesome to be here, to be able to have a chat with you. I'm always overwhelmed with joy whenever I know that we have a moment to share, we have a moment to get feedback from you guys. The feedback is awesome. You guys are learning, you guys are growing, you guys are expanding. There's exponential growth happening in people's lives, and I mean, I can't just keep my excitement. And it's not just in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, I hear you, in Malawi, in Zambia, in Morocco, as in there's so many places. Sometimes I don't know how these messages get to you, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they get to you and you get to see the heart of God in sharing freely and being able to grow your own lives. Okay, so as we go into this, let's just pray. Lord, I thank you. I thank you for every soul that is watching, for every woman that is watching. This is non-denomination because you want us all, you need us all to you. And that is why we speak about growth, we speak about spiritual intelligence, we speak about emotional intelligence, we speak about purpose, we speak about personal branding, we speak about growth, business growth, because we all ought to be happy and we all ought to grow and we all ought to see the greatness of your name. So I thank you for every soul that is going through a very rough patch in their lives. I pray for healing. For those that are going through very great moments in their lives, I'm excited together with them, and I pray that that joy will actually last. And those that are climbing out of the dark pitches of depression, I pray that they will get the strength, that you will strengthen them, that they will be able to come out the other side of the tunnel where there is light, where there is joy, where there is peace, and where there is celebration. I thank you because we get to grow as a community. In the name of God we've prayed. Amen. Amen. So today, what I feel on my heart is actually, I don't know, not to call it weird, but for so long I have felt on my heart that there is a lack of balance in people's lives. And both the high end, both the low end, both the mass market, both those that are trying to find themselves, those that have achieved a certain kind of status, there is a lack of balance because the world has programmed us to think otherwise. The world has programmed us to be chasers of things. The world has programmed us to be chasers of money. The world has programmed us to be, as in, yes, I know we need to survive. I know we need to eat. I know we need to have the emergency funds. I know that we need it all, and I talk about it. But anything without regulation becomes a problem. So here I am with a message that might not be loved by everyone, but again, I know that it is going to warn, or it's a wake-up call to someone to be able to wake up from the deep slumber of chasing after money, chasing after things, and not living a balanced life, because it is only in the balance that we get the abundance. It is only in the balance that we get to live an abundant life. And I've said it so many times, and for those of you that are Bible readers, when God says that, I came that you will have life. The devil came that he will steal, that he will kill, that he will destroy. Those are three things: kill, destroy, steal. But I came that you will have life, and life in its abundance. And I think we've talked about some of the traits of abundant life, but one of them that I didn't mention was living a balanced life. And today, if you're not taker, we are talking about none of it, or none of it matters. None of it matters. At the end of the day, the things that matter is your soul. The thing that matters most is your peace. That is why we have all these campaigns and all these memes moving around on social media saying, protect your peace at all costs. Protect your peace. If someone attacks your peace, that is your enemy. But some of us have never gotten to a point of actually asking ourselves, what is peace? What is balance? What is contentment? What is a fulfilled life? Because that is what we want to attain. That is what we are fighting for. That is why we are on this journey. We put one foot in front of the other to go and work, to go and start businesses, to find out what our purpose is, to find out what we are passionate about, to brand ourselves. Like, we are doing all those things so that we can attain the fulfillment And that fulfillment is what so many of us have not understood. Now, in the coaching world, some people have defined that fulfillment as staying on the beach in your bikini, and while money is just going into your bank account. But what these people never tell you is that there is no way you can just put a laptop there, put on your bikini, and lie on those those chairs, or on those poolside beds, and all of a sudden cross your legs, put on your sun goggles, and put on your beautiful hats, go somewhere, whether in Bahamas, whether in Zanzibar or something, and then all of a sudden your laptop will start clicking and money will be going into your bank account. It just doesn't happen like that. There is always a background of someone that has researched. There is always a background of someone that has worked hard. There is always a background of someone that has automated the system, that they are not needed as a human being to finish the transaction, but the system is automated. That means someone has invested. That means someone has paid for workers, to people to work. Someone has paid for these apps. Someone has uploaded their content. They took time to shoot their content. That means work. And that means it's not work that they have just done. You don't wake up one day and start shooting, and all of a sudden you automate the system, and all of a sudden you start getting money. Someone will be lying to you. Even the people in my accelerated mentorship academy, I tell them, you're going to spend a full year in my inner circle. Why do you spend a full year in my inner circle? So that you will learn to grow your community, so that you will introduce yourself as a brand, so that you will cement yourself in their minds, so that you will make yourself likable. You will develop a likable character, so that people can actually want to buy from you. So now, after you've gone through my inner circle for a full year, and all of a sudden you find yourself somewhere in Bahamas, and money is getting into your account, it's because you put in a full year work, and because you invested in yourself, you believed in yourself. So you realize that there is nothing like people are getting money without working. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If you ever get into such a scheme, that means that you are actually putting in your money for not good reason, and nothing is going to come out of that, because that is not principle. Principle is that you give and you receive. Principle is that God blesses the works of your hands. Okay? But remember, today we're talking about none of it matters. Everything is just vapor. Everything is just vapor. I like the Luganda saying that says, Tebitwe mazamu. Tebitwe mazamu. The job that you have, like, your life should not revolve around it. Like, this is my God. If it goes, I am dead. It is all vapor. It is all vapor. Whatever it is that you're striving for, that you are working too hard for, it is all vapor. You will not carry any of it to your grave. It will not give you, independently, it is not going to give you the happiness that you want. Otherwise, the richest people would have been the happiest. They are not. They actually have more problems than someone who is somewhere just surviving. Sometimes they have more problems, because money cannot solve your problems. Money cannot, yes, it will give you a living. Yes, you can move from point A to point B. Yes, you can eat what you want. Yes, you can, but will it create your relationships? Because at the end of the day, the life that we are living rises and falls. Just like we usually say that everything rises and falls on leadership, I also want to put it again in a different way, that everything rises and falls on relationships. Some of us have worked too hard and we have run away from our families, that we are strangers to our families. And when we say that everything is vapor, the money that you are working for, yes, you will have it, but for as long as you don't have a relationship with your daughter, for as long as you don't have a relationship with your son, you don't have a relationship with your spouse, or you even just don't have a network, relationships, good relationships with other people, because those are people that are going to be doorways into other opportunities. But here you are, you're like, you know what, I'm going to isolate myself and I'm going to work so hard and I'm going to make so much money. Guess what? You're going to earn, you will get that money. I don't refute it. You will get that money, but you will be empty. You will be hollow inside of you. you will be very, very hollow. Just to share a bit of myself, and this comes from definitely the background of, you know, how my mother has shown me God while growing up and introduced me to God very early in life. Actually, when she got when she got born again, I remember she was going through the toughest time of her life. She was sick, and we thought she would never get healed. And all of a sudden, some of these Christians come to our home and they preached the gospel to her, and she gave her life to Christ. And since then, we started going into church. But after some time, she told me, Hilda, you have to be able to understand Christ on your own. You have to be able to create a personal relationship. And you can't be a Christian because I'm a Christian. That means you have to be able to confess with your mouth and accept with your heart that God is your personal Lord and Savior. And I remember the time that I actually confessed, I was in Kumba. It was Pastor Mitala who actually made me confess Christ. It was in Kumba. I don't remember which year it was, but it should have been around not 2000, 1999 or something like that, in those years. And I remember we had gone for a youth camp. I was young, but I was on fire. Even when I had not personally confessed Christ, I was on fire for Christ. I was fasting. I remember that week, the whole week in the camp, I was fasting 7 days. I wanted to see certain things change in my life, even in my family, because we were so poor, even when we knew God, but life was just not happening. And so I remember the day that they called us, because most of the people that were coming to the camp were from rich families, the kids from rich families. I don't know whether you've ever been in places where you just feel like you're the odd man out. The clothes that you're putting on are the ones that are shabby, and the shoes you would rather even hide, or you would rather go into the tent very late, and then you would rather sit at the back of the tent. But remember, there are these, you know, rich kids, children and stuff like that, and they were busy burning pictures of their boyfriends and stuff like that. What Lovimo didn't do to us. So that is when I confessed Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And Mitala, you did an awesome job. You did an awesome job. You don't know what the work that you did in the youths, but I'm a result of those camps. I'm a result of what happened and what transpired, and the revival that happened in the youths in that time. So this fast forward, I grow up in life, and I am trying to pursue what God has wanted for me. I went through, did IT, I went through business, everything was failing. I had to go back and say, you know what, I really feel it in my heart. I want to be able to be a people influencer. So I went back and started on my journey again of doing guidance and counseling, and then growing into my master's positive applied psychology. But all through that, I will tell you that it has been one single thing that has kept me safe. One single thing that has kept me sane. The sanity that grounds you. It was not my family. Even when I was coming from, my mother was good, and she was so prayerful, and she was praying for us. One thing that has kept me safe in my life is my personal relationship with Christ. My personal relationship with Christ, that I would check everything on the background of what would Christ do. How he has brought me this far. He has not brought me to abandon me, and I am not going to lose my values. I'm not going to lose my morals. I'm not going to lose my integrity. Not now. I have moved this journey, and let me tell you, that has been a rock, a solid rock on which I stand. Otherwise, the winds of the world would have blown me away. I would never have been the person that I am right now. I had so many chances to actually lose it. I had so many chances to waste my life. I had so many chances as a young, beautiful girl. I had so many chances to just walk into what everyone thought was the thing in that moments, walk into spoiling myself. And I usually make fun of it and say, maybe right now I would have been on my fifth marriage, and maybe on the way to even divorce out of that fifth marriage. Why? Because There were so many things that were happening. The voices in the world, just like I said, that the programming is that, you know, if you don't put on the certain way, if you don't have a certain clique of friends in a certain way, if you don't do certain things, if you don't, the cool things, by the way, have turned out to be the worst things in the world. And now, what people term as the weird things and the crazy things, I will tell you, those are the things that have kept me safe. The love of Christ, the knowledge of Christ in my life. So when I say that everything is vapor, I have been in a place of scarcity. Just like Paul says, I have been in a place, I've said I've known how to live while sinking. I have known how to live in a survival mode. And I have known how to live while I am thriving. And I will tell you, that thriving does not just happen as an independent thing because you have money. I don't talk about me thriving because I had money. No, I talk about thriving because, yes, the money was there, but I had relationships that were building me, people that were praying for me. I was not just independent saying, you know what, if I get my money, I am going to show them who I am. You know, I'm going to be on top of the world. No. I knew that I could have money and I could still be the poorest person on earth. I knew that if I had the money, and there are people who have money but cannot sleep. There are people who have the best of the houses but cannot sleep. There are people who have the best, and I'm not saying that have the worst. No, for as long as you know what is important in your life. And wealth has more than just one pillar. Wealth is not just money. Wealth is a balanced state of living. A balanced state of living where there is fitness and health, where there is relationships, where there is work. You have an ambition, you have a passion, you are working at something. Your spiritual intelligence and your spiritual growth is also happening. And you know, you are a balanced human being, that you're living in health. Yes, you're making the money. Yes, you are working. Yes, you have the relationships, and you have a heart that is generous and wills that everyone will actually live in harmony. But if you are the kind that has the money, but you would rather kill to have more money, that is not wealth. That is vanity. That is vapor. Muka. Because you're not going with it anywhere. You're not going with it anywhere. At the end of the day, you will die the poorest person. There's a show I was doing recently, and I remember hinting it, and I've talked about this for so long, and I know some people have hated me for it. When I have told gentlemen, especially around the age of 30 and 40, and I've told them, be very careful about the investments that you are making in your family, because right now you feel like you are very energetic, you feel like you are very strong, you feel like you have some money, and you feel like, you know what, I am the man. And so this is what's happening. That money, or the world, is programming you to feel like, you know what, you can have another woman, and you can have another, you can flirt with another person, and then you can, because you are in a place where you are enabled, okay, and you are strong, and you are untouchable, and it feels like the peak of your life. But let me tell you, your life does not end at 30, and it does not end at 40. Your real life begins at 50, 55, 60, when you need the people in your life, and the people in your life don't need you. When you are sick, and all of a sudden you are frail, because at the peak of 30 and 40 you had money and you had everything, and so you were out every night, and you were, you know, multitasking, you were emotionally unavailable to your home, and so at 50 and 55 your wife is a stranger, your children are a stranger. But guess what? Because you have been feeding them, because you've been housing them, now you feel like it's time for you to get the returns on investment. Guess what? The house that you built, the roof on their head, and the food that you gave them will never give you the returns on investment. Why? Because that is the bare minimum that you can do. You are expected committed to invest into them emotionally, to be available for them, to know that they have a father, to know that they have a husband, to know that they have a protector, to know that they have security around them. If they grow without that security, they grow with that and get used to your unavailability, this is what happens. At 50, 55, 60, 70, they will say, like one of the children told me, call me when my father is dead. We were calling her so that she can come and have final moments with her father. And she was like, no, call me when he's dead. I'll come for burial, because he's a stranger to me. I mean, I don't know his love. I don't know who he is. I don't know the love of a father. Even when we lived in the same house, he was a stranger to my mother first, and he was a stranger to us. And so we don't know whether we even have a father. We even had more uncles that were more available. We had church members that were more available. We ended up having other people as father figures in our lives. And so if someone else, if my uncle calls me and he's badly off, I would rush to help him. But if my father calls me, I don't have time for him. So you realize everything is vapor. Everything is vanity, just like Ecclesiastes says, because he says that it's not the strong that eat, it's not the swift that win the race, but chance happens to us all. That means if you hear this message, we all have a chance to rearrange our lives, to realign our lives, to reposition things and say, instead of chasing money, I am chasing my purpose, and money is going to chase after me. But while I am chasing my purpose, I want to be able to create enough time for the people that are in my life. I want to be able to create enough fun time, enough time to pray with them, enough time to love on them, enough time to have a union with them. I want to be able to create that. I want to be able to create time for my body, because I am going to live in my body for the rest of my life. I don't know how long the rest of my life is, but I'm going to live in my body for the rest of my life. So I am going to exercise. I am going to limit on what I eat. I am going to be selective. I am going to take care of me. What medication? Not everything that everyone says I should be able to put into my body, because the world is out there selling everything. You know, you can take this, and then you can take that, and then you can take that. Like, I don't believe in people taking things and losing weight, because I know I have lost weight organically. I have lost weight and I'm still losing weight in an organic way. So you realize that when that part is done and you're like, okay, I'm pursuing my purpose, that is the work, and I'm pursuing my passion, and I am strategizing and repositioning myself and working, offering value and being able to help other people find the same value, and I have my family, and then I have the love of God inside of me. I have a personal relationship with God. I understand. I hear the voice of God when he says leave it, when he says don't go, and that is the discernment that I have talked about. Because how do you increase the discernment in your life? By having a personal relationship with God. That some businesses, God will make you restless and he will be telling you, do not dare, do not start that. Or he will give you the peace of mind and you will discern that this is the season to start. This is the season to do what I ought to do. I don't know if you want to live a complicated life for the rest of your life. I don't know, but I choose to live a harmonious life for the rest of my life. I want to live a life that is peaceful, a life that is content, and not content because my bank account is filled up, not content because I have so much money, but content because I have a personal relationship with God, because I'm taking care of my body, because I'm taking care of the people in my life. I'm loving on them and creating time and being available for them, and I am working in a passion-based, a purpose-based business that is actually giving so much value to the people that I am partnering with God to make the decisions in my life. Now, that is a balanced life. It takes time. That is living life in harmony. It takes time to get to that. But let me tell you, it is not too far. It is not far-fetched. We can all have it. Okay? So, if you know what it means to live in love, you know, not every moment. For example, when I talk about you being with your family and stuff like that, or it's not supposed, I mean, you're not supposed to live every moment on camera. You're not supposed to live every moment on, and I'm not saying that every moment, the things that people have shot and put up, but you realize that so much more happens behind the cameras. Recently, we were having a conversation with my husband. We are both, I wouldn't call it, when we are on microphones, we are extroverted. We speak our hearts out. But when we are in our normal lives, the two of us, our world is finished. I mean, just the two of us. And so we were, he looked at me and said that, one thing I really thank God for is when he brought us together, we created a certain level of harmony that that we know what each one of us believes in, and we know how to support those parts. But the biggest thing that he talked about was that if we lived every moment of our lives in camera, as in what would we be showing? Because I mean everyone would be like, wow, because we live our normal lives in a way that is so harmonious, in a way that is so loving, in a way that is so respecting, in a way that is so loyal, in a way that is so committed, in a way that is, you would call it like a flamboyant life, I will say. You will call it a flamboyant life. And you will think, anyway, someone told me that if I lived half of your life, I would live it in front of the camera. I would be taking, every time I go for breakfast, I would take pictures. Every time I go for lunch, I would take videos. Every time I go to a hotel, I would do this. Every time I have a getaway in a hotel, I would do this. And I don't find it. I find that the time I'm with my husband, sometimes, most of the times, I don't want to interrupt that with, let me pause this, let me do this, please take this picture, please take that picture. And I know he would gladly do it, but I don't want to interrupt it with that. If we have gone for a getaway, we've gone for a getaway to actually rest. Can we rest? Now, for me, I find that so harmonious. I know the world says, according to the kind of brand that I have and, you know, the people that I have been able to impact, anyone would have said, you know, live in front of the camera for the rest of your life. There's someone who actually came into our home some time back and said that, if I lived in your home, I would be taking videos every time. And guess what? I don't think I've taken so many videos in my home, or even so many pictures in my home. And not because it is not good. Yes, it is good for the people that feel free, for the people that are okay with it. But there is a certain harmony. There is a certain protectiveness. There is a certain genuineness that I want in my life, and I am rooted in that, and that gives me fulfillment, that gives me contentment, that gives me purpose, that gives me joy, that gives me calmness, that gives me peace, that every time I don't have to pursue for likes, for following, for what. No, if someone has followed me, let them follow me because they are gaining something, you know. Of recent, I think in a space of 2 weeks, or not even 2 weeks, but 1 week, there has been an exponential outburst and explosion on my social media platforms. And sometimes I'm like, okay, what is happening? People are following, people are subscribing, people are different countries, and I'm like, what is happening? But I realize that they are triggered by something that has tapped their emotions, and now they are, everyone, I'm subscribing, I am here, this is my community, I've been looking for you, I don't know where you have been. And in my heart, I'm like, but I've been posting content like literally for the past 15 years of my life, or 14 years of my life. And there are new people that are finding me now. So you realize that I don't have to run according to the program of the world. I can program myself and say, this is the kind of life that I live. And believe me, I'm not against, and because we all have different choices, okay? But I need you to know that everything is vapor. If my first assignment, or my first liking, or my first longing was for following and likes and everything and money, I think money will have eluded me. I think the following would have eluded me. I think the likes would have eluded me. I think everything would have eluded me. My first and my most priority, And if you ask anyone that is in my circles, or even some of the people that I work with, my first attempt at everything, or even an endeavor, is to add value. Number two is to work, is to put in the work, is to be resilient. If something refuses, I will try it a different way. If another refuses, I will try it a different way. And then I will not do it according to how anyone wants it to be done. I will do it according to how I feel it is to be done, because I am the one that is at the steering wheel. Because I am the one that is, I don't want to fight too much, to make too many additions and too much noise and so much so that I can attract attention. No, I'm not here to attract attention. I am here to give value. I am here to bless the lives of people. I am here to do my part, my contribution, because my blessing, my fulfillment is in the contribution. It is not in me chasing the wind. It is not in me chasing how many people should like me, how many people should admire me, how many people should I. No, I want to be able to empty myself into other people. I want to be able to give as much as I can. And the time that I leave this earth, I want to live empty. I want to say, I have done my work. I want to congratulate myself before even God congratulates, before he tells me, as in, well done, good and faithful servant. A good and faithful servant. Let's talk about a little bit about the talents. When Jesus gave these talents to these men, and one say that, you know, I knew that you really gather from where you didn't sow, so I didn't see no reason to use these talents, so I buried them. Okay, and so many of us have buried those talents. And there's one who multiplied. There's one. So you realize that by the time he says, well done, good and faithful servant, it's because you put it to work. It's because you put it to use. You multiplied it. You were fruitful, okay? And now you have dominion. We have talked about that you were be fruitful, you know, go and multiply, go and have dominion, subdue the earth. That is what we are supposed to do. And then everything else, let me tell you, when you do the right things, they become the magnet to the life that you want. They become the magnet to the contentment that you want. They become the magnet to the kind of money that you want. They become everything to the life that you actually want. Okay, so life can be so consuming, and everybody is tired in this generation. People are exhausted. I have talked to content creators that are so exhausted, and they have told me that, you know what, this content creation, like these platforms are like pits that can never be filled. Like no sooner, I mean, if you put something up, that immediately it loses value, and you have to create something better, and they're always asking for something better. And if you don't get to a certain target of this amount, and if you don't create content of this kind and stuff like that, and they're so exhausted. Do you know that you can create content from just you being you? From you being genuine, from you being and not masquerading and not pretending to be anything. There are people that have even gotten out of content creation, and they're like, you know what, I did everything faked, and I don't think I want to live that kind of life anymore. That is why some of them have gotten into personal businesses. Some of them have gone back to look for jobs. Some of them have gotten into a serious depression, because then they don't have the money to maintain the kind of life that they faked, and people now loved them for the fake life, and all of a sudden now they are coming back to their real life, and everyone who says, I want none of that. I've seen people that are tired like that. Okay, and this maybe is not just in content creation, even in normal life. People have presented themselves a certain way to be liked, and that means inside of you are timid, you are insecure, that if I show up as myself, no one is going to like me, so I am going to put so many extras on myself. I am going to put on a different cloth every day, and I am going to buy different cars, and I am going to do this, and then you invest in things that do not have returns on investment, and all of a sudden you are burnt out, all of a sudden you are poor. Have you seen people that you thought were so great on social media, and all of a sudden they tell you, oh, they have debts that they even go like they go crazy, they get into a depression. And when you have sober conversation with them, they will tell you, if there's one thing I have learned to be myself. I have learned to be genuine. Remember, if you're just joining us, we are saying that none of it matters. None of it matters. The things that matter are not bought by money. The things that matter are the closest to you, your body, your relationships, your work, your purpose, your passion. Those can't be bought with money. You can't buy them with money. Okay, so if you're one of those that is really tired, my first advice would be look for help, okay? So that you can be able to re-engineer your life, or to reprogram your life and get back to being yourself and create a community that loves you for who you are, not a community that loves you for the pretentious you, for the fake you, or for the one that they thought you were and yet you were actually not, okay? And when you get into still about the constant chase of likes and what, because that is now the constant filters that people use, the constant algorithm this, algorithm that, please feed it with this, and then if you give it this, then it's going to like you. If you give it this, it's going to display you before people's lives. Like, when will it get enough? Like, when will it get enough? Because your body at some time will give in. Your body at some time will get tired. Your brain at some time will be fried, okay? If you go run according to the algorithm. The algorithm, a human being created an algorithm. If you have a platform, you set your own pace, okay? Set your own pace. Business people, set your own pace. Otherwise, you're going to drown yourself while you want the Joneses to like you, or you want to do everything that everyone out there is doing. So work hard, be diligent. Work hard, be diligent. Because everything else that we're chasing about does not require diligence. Everything feels like we should outrun someone. We should compete with someone. We should outdo someone. And yet in being yourself, God created you different, unique. You're not in competition with anyone. If anything, you are competing with yourself to be the best version of yourself. And I believe that works better than anything else. So there has to be a balance. There has to come a time in your life where you're like, you know what? I need balance. I need balance. There has to come a time in your life, and I will tell you, if you don't choose it right now, your body is going to demand that balance in a very bad way. Your body is going to be exhausted. Your body is going to be agitated. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be crazy, crazy, and then you're going to fall sick. And then that is when some doctors will even tell you, you need to rest. It seems you've been overworking yourself. It seems you've been, outrunning yourself. You need to rest, okay? So don't wait for someone to recommend the rest. Don't wait for your body to give up on you, because the body can give up on you. Remember, you've not been feeding it well. You've not been exercising. You've not been, being selective about what you eat. And all of a sudden, the body weighs down. It gets tired. It gets exhausted. It gets sick. And all of a sudden, you need to be able to take a step back, okay, and then be able to rearrange your life. Don't wait until that time. Right now, I need you to be able to look at your time, at your life, and say, what must I rearrange? What must I realign? What must I don't want to run according to the speed of the job, of the algorithm, of social media, of the friends in my life. I want to be able to set my own pace. Own your life. Take your space. Stand up and stand out, okay? Because that is what you were created for. And for me, the balance has been that guiding light. I believe the discernment. I believe the Holy Spirit that whispers to me and tell me you're not doing that for the right reason, and I ditch it. And I'm so quick. I am so quick. It doesn't matter how someone will look at me. I remember at some point, every time I travel, someone was asking me, but you didn't tell us that you were traveling. I just mentioned after I came back about the good things that had happened. Someone about, why didn't you tell us when we were traveling? I'm like, no. I don't think I've ever done it. I actually don't do it. And I remember there's a time I told someone that, you know what, I'm not the kind who will take pictures of Smanya. I'm on the plane, I'm at the airport, I'm at the, no. I don't feel like, I'm not proving anything. If I feel like taking it, it will be for me, because I have so many of them in my phone, but I have not posted many of them. So, and if I feel like posting, it will be because I actually want to post, not because I want to inform anyone or I want to show anyone. I am not, like, at my age and where I have gotten and the kind of choices I have made, I am not proving a point to anyone. I am not buying a new cloth every day to prove a point to anyone that I'm well off or I am living a good life. I actually repeat my clothes. I put them on again. I don't just throw them away or give them away or something like that. I give them, some of them away, but I repeat my clothes. I live a normal life, and that is so peaceful. There's a lot of tranquility. There's a lot of contentment, and I believe that I am even getting into more levels of contentment, into more levels of, because there is always a room to improve and a room to grow. Okay, so that balance for me is listening to that still voice inside of me and not silencing it. And when I'm putting on, when I am working, when I'm doing something, and the temptation, because the temptation will always come to do things because of this and to do this because of this, or to show this and this, and I'm like, no. This is not me. This is not the grounded me. So I listen to the still voice inside of me. It leads me and it guides me. And I hope that you can be able to listen to that still voice. Sometimes it will tell you things that you don't need. Sometimes it will tell you things when you let it speak, and when it grows with you, be like, you're not doing this for this. You're not doing that for that. You're not doing that for, even some of the speaking engagements, I've got into a place and I'm like, it's not just about the money. It's about the impact. And some people are like, what? And some of them, I'm like, I really love the youths, and if you invite me to come and talk to the youths, I would really love to come. I mean, I don't want to put a price tag to that, because if I give you my red card, you're not going to afford it. So for most of the people that send me messages and they're inviting me for speaking engagements, and I'm telling them I can't give you my red card, because there are some companies I give my red cards, but there are some people that invite me and I don't give them my red card. I just tell them, you know what is on your budget? Okay, I would want to work with you depending on what you can afford, not what I want, because this is ministry and this is for impact and transformation. This is not me selling my gift. And it has been so amazing to some people and very unbelievable to some people. So we all need that balance. If you work without sleep, tell me, where is the balance? Remember, we talked about taking care of our body. Where is the balance? If you work without sleeping, if you work without eating, and some of us, oh, I'm too busy, I even don't have time to eat. Where is the balance? Okay? Where is the balance? Because at the same job, when you die, they're going to replace you. When you are sick, someone else will stand in for you. So you are not the alpha and the omega of your position. So can you slow down? Can you slow down? Can you take time and take care of your body? Can you sleep enough hours? Can you stop, saying, oh, I watch movies until 3 a.m. and you feel you're talking about, there are certain conversations that people in their 20s and their 30s keep talking about until you're like, I don't think you've gotten to a point where you can be in control of your life. Because when you say, oh, I watch movies until 3 a.m. and then you feel you are boasting about it, like there is nothing to boast about that. When do you get time to sleep? Because you're like, oh, I watched movies until 3 a.m. and then by 6 I was out of the house going to work, and then in my heart of hearts, that means you're not even giving your employer value. You're not, because you are working tired. You are a working tired, exhausted person. And so all of a sudden you're agitated, you're irritable because you didn't have enough sleep. And if you're a manager or you're a supervisor, you're quarreling with people, and then all of a sudden you repeat the same cycle. And at work you eat junk food. Or sometimes you're like, oh, I don't have time to eat. And all of a sudden you get ulcers. And where's the balance, guys? We're talking about the balance. Everything is vanity. Can you take care of yourself? Okay? Can you take care of yourself? If you don't work out at all, where is the balance? If you don't walk, some of us are living sedimentary lives. Until I decided, and I was like, you know what? I know that the temptation for my life to be very sedimentary is very high, because chances are I will drive from home to work in the parking, and then I will just walk up and then to my office, use a lift actually, get into my office, and then after that use the lift, go down, and then get into the car and drive until home. And then what am I doing? Until I decided, I was like, I'm taking matters into my own hands, and in my own compound, I am going to work out with my children, and they love it. They even remind me, Mommy, time for working out. Where are the dumbbells? Where are the ropes? Can we run? How many times should we run? Should we run 50 times to the gate and back? And I mean, I'm able to actually calculate and say, I have walked certain footsteps in a day. It has to be intentional. At a certain point in your life, things have to be intentional. When I was still younger, definitely I used to walk to work. I used to, so I would get enough exercise, because then you have to walk to work, you don't have enough money, you have to eat particular things, and so there you're not struggling enough. But when you get to a certain age, you have to be very intentional about what you're doing, what you're putting into your body, the kind of workout and the kind of steps that you take during the day. And let me tell you, it is not in vain. The moment you invest in your life is going to pay back. Just imagine when you get to 50, 70, 80 and your bones are still strong to hold you, and you've shed the weight. Like I've been consistently shedding the weight, and I'm starting to feel like I'm about to even get to my goal, and I am so happy about it. So you realize that there's a lot more ahead of you if you don't decide to jeopardize your life right now or self-sabotage right now. Okay, what is your motive for doing the things that you're doing? Check your motive, because that also contributes to the balance of your life. Are you doing it that you will be seen, or are you doing it because you love doing it, or are you doing it because you're extending value to people? Make sure that you are actually checking that. Okay. And some people I think boast about being a workaholic. Oh, I work too much. I work from 5 and then up to midnight. And that has been my schedule for the past 10 years. And yes, I know it has been your schedule for the past 10 years. But where are the people in your life? If you go back home and your children are sleeping, if you go back home and your wife is sleeping, or if it's the other way around, if you go back home and your husband is sleeping, or go back home and your children are sleeping, and the whole week you've not been able to see them and to even laugh with them, to joke with them, to be in bed with them, to be funny with them, like what is it? Yes, you can boast about being workaholic. And we talked about, Tim and I at sometime, we talked about certain men that have even said that, it's better for me to leave my home and extend or come closer to work, rent an apartment so that I can be closer to work, and then I can go back in the evening. And in the same city, what are you running away from? That means you have not created harmony at home, and now you're running away because there is no harmony. And where you're running to, it's worse. It's worse. Because then you're going to seek to fill that void, and you will find people that will fill that void, and all of a sudden those people will always go back to their people, and they will mind their business at a time where you really need them, at a time where you really, really, really need them. There's a story that someone gave me. I think it was the beginning of this week. Someone told me of a story that a certain gentleman at the age of 55, at the age of 50, he decided to separate with his wife, and then he married a 21-year-old. Now they have been in the marriage for 4 years, and the man got sick, and now he cannot even function sexually, and the woman says, man, I can't just stay with you because I need to have other men. I need to have men in my life. I still need sex in my life, and you cannot function. And all of a sudden he's stressed. All of a sudden, at some point he accepted it, and he was like, it's okay for as long as we are still husband and wife, for as long as we stay in the same home. And all of a sudden, the woman's engagement started getting rowdy and out of hand, because then she has multiple men, then she's having fun, sometimes she spends the night out. The man has gotten to a time where he's really tired and he can't take it anymore, and he's asking for advice. What do I do? And there's someone who actually told him that, you know what, I think it's better you actually find if there's still an opening and your wife can be able to receive you back, that you will be able to go back and apologize and restart your life again. And I was telling this the person that was telling me, and I was like, so you think the wife is also going there to be there to take back the nonsense? That's not how it works. You made her a rug. You walked out of her life because you wanted her younger, and maybe we don't know what exactly transpired, and we can't go into the details of that, but it doesn't matter what transpired, because if you had lived 30 years of your life with that person, and all of a sudden at 30 years you're thinking of marrying a 21-year-old, and all of a sudden you want to waltz back, I called it waltzing back, the waltz kind of dance, you want to waltz back into her life and apologize. An apology is not, it cannot be enough. However, I told them that if his track record was good in the past, okay, and we don't know what exactly brought about this decision of him leaving, but if his track record was good in the past, he will have a chance, and maybe she can listen to him. But you realize that at that point there is a bit of vanity, there is a bit of, I was trying to hold on to this, but again I can't be able to hold on to it because it also has a mind of its own and it wants something totally different. Okay, just ask yourself, having multiple men, like, what is the balance? What is the balance? What do you, having multiple women, like, where is the balance? Like we said, everything is vanity. You would rather have one person, love that one person, let them be your bouncing back place, let them be your safety place, let them be a person that loves you, cherishes you. And some of you will tell me, but you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Let me tell you, that those are the statements that are making people do all sorts of mistakes, okay? Because, I mean, it's when you give someone all your life that they're able to give back all their lives. Have there been places where some people have been hurt, they have given everything and they have received nothing? I know they are there. But again, there are those that have given everything and they have gotten everything and they're living peaceful lives. Guys, you have not seen older couples that have fought together the battle of life. They've been through the thick and the thin of it, and now they are cemented by life and they love each other. It looks so good, it looks so sweet. Their children respect them, the people in their vicinity respect them, and even when they speak, they are respected and they are happy genuinely. It's not about who listens to you or who says what, but are you genuinely happy? Are you genuinely happy? Because if you have multiple men, you are looking for something you don't have. If you have multiple women, you're looking for something that you don't have. Okay, so there's a season for everything. We have real issues, and there are so many issues that people are going through, but when is it enough money? I need you to ask yourself, when is it enough fame? Okay, I know that you've chased for fame and you're chasing for fame. When is it enough? When is it enough validation in your life? When is it enough? Do you know some of these things can never be enough? That the more we get, the more we want. The more money we get, the more we want. The more fame we get, the more we want. The more validation we get, the more we want. So it becomes an endless pit, an endless void that we must fill. But what I am saying is, I feel that with the love of Christ, with the knowledge of Christ, with my personal relationship with Christ, like nothing else completes me, nothing else. Everything is an added advantage. Okay, and so when is it enough? Contentment is so healthy. Contentment has helped me in so many ways. It is attractive, it's a gift from God, and if you have it, you win. Okay, and I'm not saying that you get contented with the kind of work that you do and that you don't work anymore, but that contentment that comes from knowing that you're doing the right thing, that you are serving, that you are adding value, that you are taking care of your body, that you're loving the people in your life, that you have enough, that you have. I told you of a scenario where I'd moved out of the country, and when I got into a hotel room, I just said, God, now I open up an altar, because you're the one that I can go with everywhere I go, even when I am alone. I don't like traveling alone. My husband knows it, so most of the times that we travel together. So this time I just looked at all the pictures of my children, my husband, and I was like, you know what, this is where I belong. If I have to cut my trip short, I just want to go back home. And he used to mention that so many times when he used to go on solo trips. He used to say, before he even gets to the airport, he would tell me, Hilda, I already miss you. I already miss home. I feel like maybe I shouldn't even go for this trip. And I'll be like, you know what, go. When you, we will be in touch all together. We'll be taking videos. We will be communicating on FaceTime. We will make sure that, you know, at least you have a feel of us even when you are away from us. So the first time I traveled alone, let me tell you, I struggled. I just said, you know what, home is where my heart is, and home is where I belong. When I came back home, I literally thanked God. I was like, God, thank you, I am back home. So anyone will be like, I would want to be in any other country. I would want to be out there doing this and doing that. No. Contentment that says, you know what, this is what God gave me, and this is what I'm going to work on, and I'm going to live in alignment with this. Okay, so I want you to be filled with joy and with contentment. I want you to be able to say, I have done what God called me to do. As we finish, I want you to be able to say that, and that is the sweetest statement that you can ever do. I don't want you to die overworked, okay? Because when is it enough? It will never be enough. What you're chasing, if it's not of God, if it's not the motive of God, it's not going to give you the peace, and it's not going to give you the contentment that you need. So go back and look at the 5 pillars of wealth that we have talked about. Ask yourself, which of these am I nourishing? Which of these am I working on? Which of these am I giving time? Because it doesn't matter. Everything is vapor. What we have is what God has given to us to take care of. I love you guys. May God bless you, and I wish you joy and contentment, and I pray that God will help you to see the most important pieces in your life, so that you can nurture them, so that you can feel your presence, so that you can be content and you can have the joy of the Lord in the land of the living. Bless you.